Well, another day, another striker getting linked to Newcastle United. But I tell you what, it's a good one. 21-year-old Porto striker Samu Agahawa is being linked by David Ornstein and The Athletic as a key target for Newcastle United as we continue to look and try to replace Alexander Isak this summer window. We're going to get into all of that in today's video, but first, be sure to go ahead, subscribe to the channel. I mentioned it yesterday and loads of you guys jumped on it. So if you want to help a man out, help with the channel, help it grow, hit subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost anything, just means that my videos will flash up more often. So if you want more Newcastle updates, hit subscribe. As I say, grab a cup of tea, grab a beer. It's Friday afternoon. You can have one, get a can, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on with this one. So yes, it is clear that Newcastle continue to power on and try to replace Alexander Isak this summer window. Isak, who was not training with the side, is not expected to make an appearance tonight. Newcastle take on Espanyol tonight in the first day of the Sella Cup friendlies. Unexpected that he'll be there tomorrow either, as we take on Atletico Madrid. Eddie Howe has not done press conferences ahead of the two friendly games. You would normally expect them to do so, get everybody hyped for them. Nope, doesn't want to do it because he's going to get an hour's worth of questions about Alexander Isak. I do expect him to do the post-match interviews to talk about what happened in the game. However, no one will ask him about what happened in the game. They'll just ask him about Isak again. So it's clear Newcastle are trying to make moves, trying to resolve this situation, trying to move on and get this kicked off. And I saw someone talking about this the other day, and it was, oh, well, what happens if Isak stays? What happens then? Well, you've got to think that even Isak, if he does end up staying, will have to pull on the black and white shirt and represent the side. He wants to get paid. He wants to continue his career. He wants to play Champions League football, but that doesn't stop the incessant talk. Every time Isak scores, well, you know, he doesn't want to be here, but he's scoring goals anyway. Every time Isak walks out for a Champions League game, well, you know, he would rather have worn the Liverpool shirt. You know, so for all intensive purposes, for like actual some sanity, moving past what has been a painful summer window, we need to move on from that. And it's clear that Newcastle are pushing on transfers. It's not just Samu that has been linked today. A couple of others have as well. Wissa continues to be a key target for Newcastle. Obviously, he is, you know, playing silly games over at Brentford as well. He's not been training. He didn't play in a friendly. He's trying to get his way out of Brentford to go to Newcastle. So it is just so ridiculous, the domino effect. And what's going on with that one is that Brentford have just opened up discussions with Otara, the Bournemouth player. So then you're asking, does Bournemouth let him go unless they've signed someone? But if Brentford are able to get him in, the hope is Wissa will get the green light. And we've discussed this a little bit in the videos, the Isak replacement, the Wilson replacement, the ability to have key players come in and do the job. You know, at the end of the day, replacing Alexander Isak's no easy feat. That's why I think Newcastle have been really trying to shop in that like upper level and have struggled because we haven't brought the money to the table. You know, we haven't brought the fees, the wages that other teams have. We've naively tried to basically try and quickly replace Isak. I think just few years too early, basically. Competing with teams offering double the wages, competing with teams, you know, although we won a trophy this year, have won, you know, plenty of trophies over recent years. So it was a tough window in that respect. And now I think Wissa's great. I think Wissa's a fantastic key Premier League player to bring in instead of Wilson. He's on the Wilson list. You know, you've got Larson from Wolves being linked today as well. And I like him. But I would argue that he is also on the Wilson list. Now, it's not to say, for example, that a Wissa and a Larson, pair of them, probably combined scored more goals than Isak and Wilson did. So you could argue that point. Actually, fair enough, they're from, you know, two separate kind of talents, different types of players. But goals, assists, contribution-wise, I mean, in fairness, Isak was carrying Wilson on his back a little bit, wasn't he? So the comparison is already a little bit flawed. But we'll run with it. We'll run with it. The idea that a Wissa and a Watkins, you know, I really like that. If I had to tell you right now what I think would be best, and bearing in mind I'm going to talk about Samu in a second. I think, you know, for hitting the ground running, Premier League proven goals, I think Watkins would score loads of goals for us. I think he's a really good striker. The amount of chances we put, like the way we play, like Isak gets so many opportunities. I think Watkins will get the same, and I think he'll score goals. Put Watkins on the penalties, you'll score them as well. I think he would be great for us. The trouble with all of that is, as I'm trying to kind of prove that as a good thing, Watkins, 29, Wissa, 28, two players there that could cost us upwards of 100 million and then potentially have very little sell-on value in a few years. Newcastle have been very good at bringing in young players and building them up and making them better. It just wouldn't be the way Eddie Howe has done things previously. Wissa or Watkins is a Premier League proven player that can come in and be great, but undoubtedly, as we've seen throughout this window, we are still keen on that younger talent, that younger talent that can come in. Look, Isak cost us 65 million, looking to leave for 150. So fair enough, it can be daunting at times when you're paying that fee for a young player, but it's not to say that they can't go on and grow. And I think if Newcastle were to get a Wissa done, so that's the reliability, then go and push the boat out on, as I say, what's being reported as, well, 100 million release clause. Yeah, exactly. But potentially 70 million to get the conversation started. And as I say, it is the 21-year-old Porto striker, 45 appearances last season, 27 goals for Porto, Samu. Thoughts and comments on him down below. If you would like to see Newcastle sign Samu, drop a like on this video. Let's get that number rocketing. If you've enjoyed the update, drop a like on the video. As I say, help the guy out. But yes, a very, very exciting player. 6'4" striker, very powerful. Hits the ball like an absolute rocket. Spanish, started at Granada, went to Atletico, didn't really light it up there. Was actually going to go to Chelsea. Was actually linked to Chelsea. And then that didn't pull off. So then he went to Porto and basically just had a fantastic season. It's not the first time I've heard his name this summer window. He's been linked with Aston Villa as well. Strangely enough, with them being linked to Watkins going away, Villa have been linked to Samu, and the price just linked at the time when they were talking about him was around that 70 million mark to get the party started. But with 100 million, well, it's euro. I believe the release clause is euros, so it's 100 million euros. So the release clause in our terms is 86 million. Is it? I think it's so. But they would be willing to budge down 10 to 15 million to get the party started. Bearing in mind they only paid 15 million for him, they will be straight up, you know, quintupling their money. We're getting into big words today. Lots of money for Porto. But as I say, I think a key point about Samu is I think he's still very raw. I think he's a really good player, really big lad, 6'4", run it fast, will run the channels for you, will smack the ball in the back of the net, but I think just needs that little bit more time to grow, build, time on the ball. Can switch the play, great, but I just think that little more intricacies of little playing styles. This is not. It's just. I just don't think he's quite as well rounded as an Alexander Isak. But as I say, Isak is one of the best players in the world right now. Who knows? Under Eddie Howe's tutelage, could Samu get there? But I think that was why I've spent a bit of time in this video talking about the likes of a Wissa. I think it's similar with Jackson's got linked. I think Jackson's a good player as well, but he just can't finish his dinner. So you put a lot of weight to lose Isak and not have two strikers for me. I think is bold, because you are expecting again, and no slant on him. Nunes scored loads of goals in the Portuguese league as well, and he came here, and Liverpool fans keep trying to tell me that he was a success, but from what I could see, he was pretty bad. Samu. And for all intents and purposes, Nunes was 100 million and was the next big thing, and now he's leaving for 40 million to Saudi Arabia. So anytime you have a fee that big, there's always going to be a little bit of a question mark. But it's undeniable that he is a bit of a force to be reckoned with, and I think could be really, really good for us. Would Newcastle be willing to push the boat out for as much as 85 million for him? I think that's a conversation to be had. Yeah. I like it. I back Eddie Howe. If Eddie Howe thinks it's worth the money and we should push for it, then I'm up for it as well. But as I say, he would be a force to be reckoned with Newcastle. I think he would work hard. He would score goals. We'll put the ball on the plate for him. Gordon will put it on a plate. Murphy will cross the ball to him just like he did for Isak. And he will be on the end of it. So, yeah. Thoughts on Samu down in the comments below. Is that a person you would like to see Newcastle drop the bank on? I just think we're now at a place where, like, we've targeted a lot of players, and we're kind of going down the list. I think he's fantastic, and I think he would really be a great player for Newcastle. But it's just give him the backup with a Wissa, give him the backup with a Watkins. Let's make sure that when we hit the ground running, coming over from the Portuguese league, that we're not going right. 21-year-old lad. You're going to play 70 games this season and you need to score in every single one of them. We need to be more clever than that. But yes, on terms of a young player coming in who is very, very highly recognised as being, a bit of a wonder kid coming through, 21 years old, it's a great player to be linked with. And we'll have to see how Newcastle react to that one. And the cost. Thanks for watching. Thoughts and comments on Samu. Is he the player you want to see, or if there's a different striker that actually you prefer? Let me know down in the comments as well. It's clear that Newcastle are pushing to get something done. I think that's the main thing. We aren't sitting around twiddling our thumbs going, I'm sure it'll be fine. We are working. You can see that very publicly, which is also a little bit worrying that every single player that we talk to, I think it's because we're in the big leagues now. These players, it's agents. It's probably Samu's agent. Can you just get an article going on this one? Because we've had a phone call off Eddie Howe. But if Villa are still interested, maybe they'll put an extra 5 million on the fee. So, yeah. Thoughts and comments on that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.